for every race. Brothers and sisters, to increase your iman.
خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه ورتل القرآن ترتيلا. Learning how to recite the Quran properly, learning the meaning of what we recite, including the ahkam from the verses which we recite, trying to implement what we learn in our daily life. We'll listen to the participants and the guests. We'll take your phone calls. We're going to recite live. We'll listen to your recitation and we'll correct it according to the rules and regulations which we'll state in each episode. Now your dream will come true.
Islam is keeping up the pace. Islam is for every race.
We're back and you've been watching the Beauties of Islam. We're back with more Beauties of Islam. We've been talking about the deen of Allah, the way to get to Allah by following the revelation that He sent to us, the Quran, and something like it. Now we want to talk about that a little bit. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the exact living representation of what Islam is supposed to be all about. What he did, how he did it, his life is the example for us, the Muslims. We've talked about this in detail in other programs, but I want to refer to that because we are talking about the Quran and the Sunnah. Those two things are very vital to understand what I'm going to explain next. There's a saying in Islam about innovations, those things which are newly invented matters. And while I will agree with you that as time progresses, we discover new things, and some things are very important and vital, actually, to our lives, to incorporate these new things we discover. For instance, in my case, I enjoy something called a microwave oven. You know why? That's how I heat up my coffee. We also enjoy traveling in airplanes, in trains, in automobiles. So these are innovations that are very necessary for us, and we enjoy them very much. I would hate to think that we'd still have to travel on camels and have to build a huge fire just to warm up some tea. At the same time, though, if we said we need to change our religion, incorporate things into it that didn't used to be there, or take things out of it, this would be a pretty amazing thing to consider, especially in lieu of the fact that Allah has revealed the verse that I just recited to you in the first portion of this program. When Allah said that He has conferred upon us His biggest favor by revealing a total deen for us. And this deen doesn't need anybody to change it, because if they do, then they're not accepting the one that He sent. And He said He perfected it. So it's perfected on that day. Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum Islam ad-dina. This is clear. And nobody should add to or take away from this. Because if they do, what would happen? It wouldn't be the same deen anymore. Suppose somebody said to you, okay, look, I got an idea. Why don't we just pray 3 times a day? It'd be a lot easier for us. And why don't we just pray all together? You know, combine everything and make it real easy. Or somebody else might say, no, we don't pray enough. Let's make it so that people have to pray 10 times a day. Or once every hour, 24 hours a day. Get up in the night and you have to wake up every hour on the hour and do that. That sounds very religious, like maybe a monk or something. Then somebody else might say, well, what about this fasting all the time? Let's just do 15 days. Or somebody will say, let's fast 2 months out of the year. And somebody else could say, why should we go all the way to Mecca to make our pilgrimage? Why don't we just make one of the pilgrimages to Disneyland? That'd be nice and a lot of fun for the kids too. Or, hey, you know what? There's a real religious guy over here. Really, really nice guy. We really love him so much. He died, and there's his grave. Instead of going all the way to Mecca, we'll just go to this guy's grave and walk around there 7 times instead of going to Mecca. And call that, you know, a pilgrimage for us. What about that idea? Each and every one of these things may have an attraction for some people, and it may sound like it's a benefit. But remember what Allah said in the Quran. If anybody seeks after a deen other than the deen that He has revealed, He's not going to accept it. And in the hereafter, they're going to be with the losers. He said His deen is complete. So did you understand what this means? This means that it doesn't need you or I to add to or take away from it. Allah is not asking me to make up a religion. He's not asking me to make up a God. In fact, He's only asked me to do one thing, worship Him on His terms. Listen carefully. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ. He says that He's only created the jinn and human beings for the purpose to make ibadah, worship to Him. Worship is for Him. In fact, ibadah is a word in Arabic that's similar to the word slavery. To be a servant to Him, serving Him on His terms. Could you imagine a servant or a slave going up to the master and saying something like, hey, you know what? You don't get your tea this morning. You're going to get it tonight. Take it or leave it. How far would that go? And you and I both know that would be a big problem. In the same way, if anybody tries to make up a religion other than the one that Allah revealed, Allah is not going to accept it. And in the hereafter, they'll be with the losers. So that's the importance of knowing this beauty of Islam, the deen of Islam itself. In fact, the word deen is synonymous with the word Islam. And that is one of the beauties of Islam. Be sure to check our website, beautiesofislam.com. Till next time, peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Islam is peace.